Welcome, everyone, to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into something that literally affects millions of people across the globe: the harsh, undeniable realities of tobacco use. But listen, we're not just going to sit here and look at the problem. We're going to figure out exactly how to break free from it. We've pulled together some incredible source material to give you absolute clarity on what smoking actually does to the human body, and more importantly, a real, actionable roadmap to stop it. Now, to solve any problem, you first have to understand the root of it, right? It's incredibly easy to judge someone who smokes. But let's be real, nobody starts out planning to be addicted for life. Actually, research shows it can take just a matter of days, sometimes weeks, for the brain to start craving nicotine after that very first cigarette. So, where does this whole dangerous habit actually start? How do people fall into this trap? Because honestly, it almost never begins as a deliberate choice to hurt yourself. It usually starts as just a seemingly innocent response to the world around us. Okay, let's dive into this. We're breaking this down into three parts. First, the chain of smoking. Second, the biological timeline. And third, breaking the habit, where we'll wrap up with a practical, life-saving solution.
Part 1. The chain of smoking and the triggers that cause it. Because smoking isn't really just a casual habit, it's a heavy chain that traps you. Our source material makes this super clear. There are four main triggers that forge this chain. Number 1, mental stress. We're talking about the intense pressure from a demanding job, maybe upcoming exams, or just everyday household problems. People take a couple of puffs, desperately looking for a little peace. Number 2 is peer pressure. Come on, we've all heard that classic line from a friend. Oh, just have one puff. Just one. But that single phrase has pulled thousands of people into the swamp. Number 3 is fashion and media. Movies, social media, they can make smoking look so incredibly cool and sophisticated. And finally, number 4 is just plain old boredom or routine. Having a cigarette with your morning tea or right after a big meal. Before you even realize it, these external triggers become deeply, deeply ingrained internal habits.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between what our minds perceive and what is actually happening. The illusion here is that you're finding a moment of peace, curing your stress, or fitting in with the cool crowd. But the reality is much darker. Your brain is literally being tricked into thinking this addiction is completely normal. You think you're just enjoying a casual post-dinner smoke, but what you're actually doing is reinforcing a chemical chain that just gets harder and harder to break every single day. And the source material hits us with a deeply sobering thought that completely reframes this entire illusion. Listen to this. 5 minutes of peace eats 50 years of your life. Just let that sink in for a second. Those fleeting 5-minute little escapes you take during a stressful workday, they are actively eroding decades of your future. The stakes here are absolutely incredibly high. It is time we stop looking at smoking as this harmless stress reliever and start seeing it for the silent thief that it really is. Part 2. The biological timeline. The internal war. It's time for a visceral reality check on what happens inside your body with every single puff. And this brilliantly illustrates that internal war I mentioned. Within just the first 10 minutes of smoking, your heart rate spikes, your blood pressure shoots up, and your hands and feet actually get cold because your blood flow is restricted. Fast forward to 6 months, you're breathless, your immune system is compromised, and you're catching colds way more easily. Jump to 5 years, and your lungs are literally turning black. Cancer cells are starting to form, and your risk for heart disease, it's tripled. By 10 to 20 years, you're looking at severe, life-threatening conditions. Lung cancer, mouth cancer, strokes, even kidney failure. It is a creeping, absolutely relentless bodily decay. So the crucial point is that this internal war doesn't just stay internal. The absolute greatest tragedy of this timeline is that you aren't the only one suffering. Passive smoking literally poisons the people sharing your space, the people sitting right next to you on the couch, your family, your kids. They become victims of this exact same poison, forced onto the very timeline we just looked at, without ever even choosing to light a cigarette themselves. Part 3. Breaking the habit and a roadmap to quit. Because I promise you, this chain can absolutely be broken. Let's move to and see how this builds into an actionable 5-step roadmap. Because no matter how far along that timeline you are, you can do this. Step 1. Make the decision and set a specific quit day right there on the calendar. Step 2. Manage your triggers. Identify them before they even happen. Step 3. Gradually reduce your intake. Going cold turkey is notoriously tough, so just aim for one less cigarette a day. Step 4. Seek help. Talk to your doctor about nicotine gum or patches, and loop in your family so they can support you. And step 5. Make sure you are actively rewarding yourself for your progress. Now, let's zoom in on managing those triggers because, honestly, that's where most people stumble. You've got to have alternatives ready for those weak moments. When you have that cup of tea, when your friends offer you a smoke, or when tension just hits you out of nowhere, what do? Our source gives us some highly practical tools you can easily memorize. Number 1, immediately drink a big glass of water to satisfy that oral fixation. Number 2, pop a piece of chewing gum. Or number 3, physically remove yourself from the trigger by just going for a brisk walk. Having a pre-planned response is your secret weapon to beating those sudden cravings. And please, whatever you do not skip the final step of this roadmap. The financial drain of smoking is just massive. So take the money you would have spent on cigarettes each month and intentionally use it to buy yourself a reward. Maybe it's a really nice dinner, some new clothes, or a hobby you've been wanting to try. Celebrate your victory. Making this journey positive and self-affirming actually rewires your brain. It helps you realize that a life without tobacco is just far richer and way more enjoyable. So, we've seen the triggers that trap you, the brutal biological timeline of what tobacco does to your body, and a clear 5-step roadmap to finally break free. The power to reject that next cigarette is literally right there in your hands. So, I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. Look at your calendar. When is your quit day?